Hi, today we'll be talking about how you understand your world. Perception involves sensations from the environment that are made into mental representations, which can then be further processed by your mind. Imagine someone hearing that tone for the first time ever, without any prior knowledge of the noises phones make. Someone hearing that sound would identify where the tone is coming from, or the phone, and would hear its beautiful melody in all its glory. They would not understand the importance of what the tone means, though, but they would be able to identify the noise that is happening. So they would investigate the phone to see if anything is different, notice a new text message, and the next time they hear that tone, they'd immediately look for the phone. This would be what is known as bottom-up or data-driven processing. Bottom-up processing requires the analysis of your senses, smell, sight, hearing, taste, and touch, from briefly accessing your sensory memory. This process does not use any prior knowledge or experience in order to identify some stimulus. For instance, light from a light bulb would go through your eyes into your brain to be processed, and sound from a phone would travel through your ears to be processed by the brain. This doesn't require any previous knowledge about the light bulb or the phone.
However, you probably just checked to make sure you didn't get that super important text message you've been waiting for, or to make sure that your mom isn't calling you again. This is an example of top-down processing. Otherwise known as conceptually driven processing, top-down processing uses our long-term memories, schemas, and past experiences to influence the ways that we interpret the world around us. And if you're wondering what in the world schemas are, let me tell you. Schemas are mental representations that we have about the world. So a schema that most people have is, if my phone makes that funny sound, I must have just gotten a new message, which is why you might have thought you got a text message when you heard. Most of the time, top-down processing and bottom-up processing happen simultaneously. An example of this is reading. Your brain uses its knowledge of words and sentence structure to interpret language, even if words are misspelled, which is why you can read this, even though it's misspelled. Top-down and bottom-up processes occur at the same time when we're reading. You can see that in this example, where even though these two characters are technically the same, you can tell that this is supposed to say the, meaning this would be an H, and this is supposed to say cat, meaning this would be an A, even though bottom-up processing would tell you that those are the same thing. You can also notice this when you encounter a word you've never seen before. Most of the words in a sentence you may recognize very quickly and not need to give much thought to, but when you read the new word, you may need to pay more attention. The bottom-up processes would require you to go back and read the word more carefully, maybe sound it out a little, see if you can figure out how it's pronounced and if you've heard it before. If you have, top-down processes would kick in and you would understand the meaning of the word. Language is a funny thing when it comes to how we perceive it. For instance, did you know that it's easier for you to recognize a specific letter when it's part of a word? This is because top-down processing allows you to use your mental representation of the word to already understand that there will be a K there. You already have an expectation for the K to be present, so it takes you less time for you to recognize it than when it's on its own. This is called the word superiority effect.
Sometimes, when we look at something, it causes conflict between our top-down and bottom-up processing, resulting in potential confusion or optical illusions as our brain tries to make sense of what it's seeing. One such example is when something doesn't fit in where it belongs, or it is in the wrong schema. For instance, if someone in a business suit was in a swimming pool. Our bottom-up processing would observe what was happening, while our top-down processing tries to make sense of what is happening, since a business suit doesn't fit into a schema of what would be a swimming pool. This conflict between what we see versus what we expect to see causes us to look longer and take more time to process what is happening. Another example of this conflict can be seen in this video. Look at the T-Rex and try to make sense of how it is appearing to be tracking with its eyes. Most people aren't able to see the trick until the backside is shown, but even then, once the front is redisplayed, it can be hard to see the image how it really is, or the bottom-up way of seeing things, versus instead how they see the original illusion, or the top-down way of seeing things. We hope this has helped you learn more about top-down and bottom-up processing and how we perceive the world. If you enjoyed the video, remember to like, comment, and subscribe.
See you next time!